Good morning everybody and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. So this is morning here. You're probably gonna see this video in 2 or 3 days. I've been lacking on psychology content on my YouTube, so I really wanted to film this video, not only for you guys but also as a reminder for myself. So if you're new and if you don't know who I am, hi, my name is Effy or Fruzina. Effy is a nickname that I use with my foreign friends, and it's also a nickname that I decided to use on social media. You can find me on Instagram right here if you want to follow me outside of YouTube. But here on YouTube, I'm posting content all the time, usually twice a week, and I'm doing videos about psychology topics, lots of vlogs because you guys have been loving those lately and I love filming them, and also lifestyle kind of videos. Now, if you've been following me for 2 or 3 months now, you would know that I have a series going on my channel called Xxxx with Effy. I am just finishing up my diploma. I'm becoming a psychologist in just a few months, and I decided to start this series on my channel where I talk about psychology topics, anything that interests you or interests me. It is really important for me to point out that in those videos, those are based on empirical studies. They are mainly science-based, and I always put the citations in the description box down below. However, this is not a psych sesh because I wanted to talk to you guys about my experiences and some tricks and tips about anxiety and panic attacks or anxiety attacks. Before we jump into it though, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, because it will really support my channel. So for a few months now, I've been wanting to talk to you guys a little bit of the personal side of anxiety and what I experience, but even more on the other side, how I'm trying to deal with it. When I was younger, and this is really hard to talk about, but I'm just trying to raise awareness, so I really hope that this will help somebody. When I was younger, when I was around 14-15, that was the first time that I experienced a panic attack, and that was a really heavy panic attack. It was the kind that completely put me down to the floor. I was crying, I was shaking, I didn't really know what was going on. At the time, I didn't know that that was a panic attack. So it was a really scary moment in my life. And those situations started to happen even more. When I was in high school, I remember, fortunately, I had a really good relationship with my teacher, like kind of my head teacher. She would always be on my side. I would have these panic attacks happening all the time, almost every day. I was at a really bad mental state. I did not take care of my mental health whatsoever. So these would happen every day, and my best friend fortunately was with me every day, but I would just find myself crying and having these panic attacks in the girls' bathroom. It was really scary. It's a really crazy situation how your head can make you think that what you're experiencing is never gonna stop, or at least that's what I experienced. If you have ever experienced this, then I am sure that you know what I'm talking about. For me, most of the symptoms were dizziness. I would hear my heart beating a bit louder and faster than usually. I would shake. With the dizziness came with kind of a feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna faint in 2 seconds, but I didn't faint. There was I think once or twice I did faint. And for me, the worst part was the breathing. I really had to teach myself and be really conscious about, whenever this situation would come again, how to breathe. And first, I had no idea how to manage this, and I really needed somebody on my side who I trusted completely, my best friend or my mom, who would just reassure me that this is okay. Even though it feels horrible, you just have to concentrate on your breathing. So that's kind of how my journey with anxiety and panic attacks started. As I went more on with my life, the panic attacks became more part of my life as I decided to work on myself more and decided to read about this, and I started going to university studying psychology. I learned a lot more about what this is about and what could be behind all of these things. I started to look at in what kind of situations these are happening. I also started to work on my breathing techniques and and my mom being there and my best friend from university, oh, she really helped me. But I knew, because I'm kind of an independent person, I was really grateful for them when they were there. But sometimes these would happen when I would be alone, so I really wanted to try to deal with these symptoms and these panic attacks and anxiety attacks when I would find myself being alone. After years and years, I have experienced less and less panic attacks, and it became more of like anxiety. Self-diagnosis is never the way to go, you guys, even if you're gonna be a psychologist. But I would say that I would have more of like a social anxiety kind of thing. Now I'm in the second year of going to therapy. I love my therapist, he's the best, and I don't think I've had a panic attack in over 6 months now. I just have to remind myself that if this happens again, I know that I can be in control, even if my anxiety makes me think that I'm not in control. And if I want to, there are a few things that I can do about it, make myself feel better and at ease. So thank you for listening to my story, and let's just get into my tips and tricks. So I shared a picture with you guys yesterday on my Instagram, and on the caption I wrote the first 3 things that I do whenever it comes to anxiety or panic attacks. The first thing was listening to music. For me, music is a huge part of my life, and sometimes when I experience anxiety on the metro, for example, I hate going on the metro or like bus or anything like that. Sometimes when I experience anxiety there, it's the perfect thing for me to listen to music, and sometimes I kind of mouth out the words, and that just makes me focus on the words rather than on my thoughts. So I think that's a good trick that you can use. Second thing was watching a comfort series on Netflix. I have just finished Bridgerton, and I think I'm gonna start it again. Something that I'm watching right now is Dawson's Creek. It's a really old series, but I really enjoy it. I am also trying to keep up with The Bachelor. I love reality TV. It's my guilty pleasure. Number 3 that I wrote in my caption was a breathing technique. Now, there are a lot of breathing techniques out there, and because I'm doing a clinical and health psychology master, we have also talked about this in university. I think you can look them up on YouTube. But what I do though is trying to breathe into my belly, take a really deep breath through my nose, keep it for 3, and exhale out through my mouth. Sometimes it's really hard to keep track of that. A lot of these things that I'm talking about, just helping you shift your attention and shift your focus from your intrusive thoughts and from focusing on your heavy breathing, on focusing on the loudness of your heartbeat, and just rather focusing on a more calmer breathing or in music or something on Netflix. So just shifting attention. Number 4 is fidgeting. I have this ring on my finger. I got it for my bachelor's diploma from my aunt, and it could be really anything, but I keep finding myself when I feel anxious, I just twist it around. So if you catch me doing this, you can know that I'm feeling kind of anxious. I'm not saying that this is a best technique, but I find it really self-soothing. Number 5 is routines. So anxiety, for example, my anxiety thrives off of not having a routine or not having something fixed, not being able to be in control. So what I have found for myself is forming little routines, but also not going overboard and making myself feel like I have to follow those routines, because if I don't do them, then my anxiety is gonna be worse. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about healthy routines. If you follow my channel and my vlogs, you know that I like to create routines for myself. They really do make me feel like I'm more in control in what's going to happen. This comes really handy when it comes to studying. I like to write out like study plans. I'm just putting down small tasks rather than making big tasks, and it makes me feel like I'm in control. I have just filmed not so long ago a Sunday morning routine that really helps me feel relaxed and have some few hours in the morning every Sunday when I can do this. And also my personality is a kind of personality that really thrives when there are plans. I love making plans, so I think think these two things can really go together. But I do have to remind myself sometimes that if something doesn't go as planned, that doesn't mean that it's out of control, and try to control as much as I can and do not want to control everything, because that is unattainable and that is never gonna happen, and that it's fine that it's never gonna happen. So talking about crossing out things on in your planner, small rewards throughout the day when you're experiencing a hard day can really help. This is something that my therapist taught me, and this is really helping me when I feel really overwhelmed and that perfectionist part of me comes out. And on some days it's really hard for me to get on the metro or on the bus, and but I have to do it because I have to go to work nowadays. Right now we're not going to university, we have online university, but I used to have to go to university and use public transport, and on those days I would reward myself with something little. I don't know, sometimes I use Starbucks as a reward. It could be a small piece of chocolate, it could be watching another episode on Netflix, it could be anything that you can imagine. Hot drinks also help me a lot. They just kind of make me feel really comfortable, and it's like a really big blanket wrapped around me. I'm really into tea. I've always been into tea, and there are some teas, herbs that help you naturally to calm down. So it's great if you can use that combination of healthy thinking and awareness with the help of a hot beverage. I really love lemongrass and chamomile, for example. I've been loving putting fresh ginger into my tea and some honey. It's marvelous. I also really love coffee. That's what I'm drinking right now. But we know that coffee and cigarettes, they really worsen anxiety. But if you really enjoy the taste of coffee, there's always decaf, so you can do that. So talking about hugs, I have read somewhere, or my mom read it somewhere, that every day we should receive 20 hugs from 20 different people, and that can help better our mental health. Well, I don't know where she read that, and right now in the current situation I'm not sure that that is possible, but physical touch can also help. If you have a partner, if you live with your parents and you let them know about what is going on, just ask for a hug, or don't even ask. If you love that person, you can just go up to them, take a real big nice hug, and just talk it out. Physical touch is one of the 5 love languages. I truly believe in those. So, and especially if you have that love language, I think that that could really help ease your pain and your anxiety. Constant self-care is something that I feel like is really important. What you define self-care as is probably what feels best for you. For me, self-care is taking care of my skin. I mean, I'm really into skincare, not just on my face, but also throughout my whole body. Self-care for me also means working out, and workouts and getting a little sweat sesh in can increase hormones that are responsible for your happiness, let's say it that way. And recently, I've been really into hot bubble baths. Next thing is being prepared. I don't necessarily mean this in the making lists and plans kind of way, but just like being more aware of the situation. And I encourage you to try to analyze the situations where anxiety or a panic attack is happening to you, because most of the time anxiety and this panic and this irrational fear, they stem from one thing. So if you go to therapy, it's easier to find out why are you experiencing these things. I also wanted to talk about the grounding technique. I have found out about this technique when I started my studies in my master's. So a grounding technique is a really simple technique that you can use. I will try to find a picture and put it somewhere up here, and it helps you to focus on your surrounding rather than focusing in on your intrusive and negative thoughts. As I told you guys, when it comes to anxiety and these panic attacks, it's really all about trying to shift from the inside to the outside and put focus on the outside. So this technique really helps you try to find anything on the outside. And last but not least, because this video is already really long, I'm sorry, but last but not least is using less social media. This wasn't a problem like 10 or 15 years ago, but now obviously it's a huge part of our lives. Most of the time what happens, we're just mindlessly scrolling through social media and we don't really pay attention, or at least we don't feel like we're paying attention. But anything and everything that happens around us, even if our conscious self doesn't have its attention on it, subconsciously it's gonna go into our brain and it's gonna be there. Everything is information for our brain. And even if you feel like you're just scrolling through Instagram and you feel like you don't even pay attention to those pictures, all of the information from those pictures and videos is really going into your brain. Our brains are not really prepared for this much of information. So huge TED talk, I'm sorry about that. But what I want to encourage you guys to do, if you feel anxious, I encourage you to just put your phone down. Turn off the internet on your phone or on your laptop. Do something else, anything else. There are so many things that you can do with your time. Even if you're alone, you don't have to be on your phone all the time. And this can be really interesting to come from me because I'm on social media and I'm making videos and I'm posting pictures all the time. But what you may not see is that I'm trying to consume less and trying to be more mindful about what I'm consuming and how I'm managing my accounts and what kind of information I put out. Of course, I am a human and I can make mistakes and sometimes I overshare, but I'm really trying to go into the habit of consuming less social media or just consume it more mindfully, because sometimes I feel like it's really overwhelming. There are so many other things that I could put onto this list, but I feel like some of them are just really obvious, like meditation and working out and stuff like that. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope that we can create a really safe space around here. I will never allow anyone to be disrespectful in the comments. If you want to share something, please do so. And never spread hate and never spread anything negative towards somebody else, because at the end of the day, you have no idea what's going on in somebody else's life. Don't forget to check out my other videos that I have here on my channel, my vlogs and my lifestyle kind of videos. And if you're really into psychology, you can go onto my profile, click on playlists, and there you will find my Xxxx with Effy videos. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more from me. I hope you're having an amazing day, night, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.